We're going to move into second string where we talk all things tech. And your boy, you talked about him earlier, Zuckerberg. You know, he mentioned he's going to lay off another 10,000 employees and has doubled down on his focus on efficiency. In addition to efficiency, looks like it apparently they're going Facebook, the company that renamed itself to Meta, which about a year and a half ago was all into the metaverse. Now they apparently have pivoted, and now they're all about artificial intelligence nowadays. According to this quote from Mark Zuckerberg, our single largest investment is in advancing AI and building it into every one of our products. He noted how AI tools can help users of its apps express themselves, discover new content, but also said that AI tools can be used to increase efficiencies internally by helping engineers write better code faster. Again, if the whole Meta thing hadn't happened, you'd be like, well, I can see that. But the fact that he's pretty much said the exact same thing a year or two ago, talking about how the metaverse is the future. Now all of a sudden AI is the future. So what do you think this is Zuckerberg? Is this his come to Jesus moment about the metaverse? Is the dude just grasping at straws? What do you think in this decision, this new decision?
I think it's two things. The first thing, Chat GPT got the girls scared. They got their backs up against the wall. They're like, wait a minute, hold on. You're making us pivot our whole portfolio because, you know, as I mentioned earlier, kind of like the whole what's on trend. Chat GPT is on trend. I think Microsoft just announced today their GPT version 4 that is kind of like all the rage. And then there are some issues with that because Microsoft just laid off their whole ethics and society team, and they launched this without them. So that's an issue. But I think the girls are scared of not being in on what's going on with OpenAI. So it's one of those things where nobody's talking about the metaverse anymore. Everybody's talking about these chatbots. And they are losing their market share on that. And two, I think they realize the time suck and the money suck that metaverse is. And
in the long game. Yeah.
Right. It's definitely a long game. And unfortunately, in this society, the long game doesn't necessarily work when it comes to certain types of technology because people's focus shift. Now, if Apple comes in with their AR, VR headset and they start to do more with that, then they may get a bump. But I don't think right now in this tech landscape, AI is king. The trend has been coming for a while now. And I think we're at the peak with this revolution and how people just really took to Chat GPT. And now everybody is integrating their own GPT version into their software, into their products. And it's just kind of overshadowing everything. So now if Facebook doesn't want to get behind the 8 ball in this, they have to make that pivot, but they hired all these metaverse people. Now, if they can't take the people that they've hired and repurpose them to work in the AI space, then that's why they, in addition to, preparing for any type of recession or anything, they're going to have to get rid of all those people they hired to bring in the new people that have the skill set. Now, it's very interesting because some of the skill sets overlap. Like I work in AI ML. We use both AI and artificial intelligence and machine learning in the job that I do every day. So if you have people who have kind of both skill sets that can maybe toggle, maybe those people from the metaverse are safe. But if you only have machine learning experience and you can't really pivot and they can't really use you, then you got to go. And I am so grateful because they were on my back for a while trying to get me to interview. It had been
Facebook or Meta.
Meta, yeah, for a metaverse position. And
get out of here.
No, seriously, like they sent one person, to talk. And, I started the conversation. I started talking about them. All the things sounded real good. And then I told her, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put a pin in this process because one, I just don't have it in me to go through the interview process of all it takes
the
to
grueling be a Facebooker.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I was like, I don't have the bandwidth for it. I don't have the mental capacity to deal with that. So, and I told her, and she was like, you know what? I completely understand. She would email me every month. And then after I was like, no, I'm still not interested. Then they sent a Black girl after me.
They know where their bread is buttered.
Then after that, they had some invite only event for certain types of engineers. Then those people came after me. We need you to sign up for this event. We want you to come. We want to talk to you. And I mean, it was one of those things where I didn't even apply for this.
Right. Peer pressure,
I didn't even come for them. And I was like, I don't know how, because I was talking to some friends about it, and I was like, I don't know how I could possibly go and work for Meta, Facebook, or whatever, because I've talked so much shit about them. I mean, so much. They come back and pull up some of these Snob West episodes. It's like, we don't offer her no job. Are you crazy? But it was one of those things where it was like incessant. I mean, phone calls, emails, LinkedIn messages. They even went to an email address that I don't even use no more.
Get out of here.
I promise you. And like, I emailed one of the recruiters something, and it was like, in the middle of the night, because I'm a night owl, and I was like, let me go ahead and answer some of these emails that I have. Do you know she responded to me within like 30 minutes?
Immediately.
I was like, what the hell? I was like, this is not a good indication that I want to work for your company. If you're responding to their West Coast, the recruiter I was talking to at the time was West Coast. So it was 9 o'clock there, 10 o'clock there. And
what you doing on your work computer?
Right. And
that's
you
why
responded almost immediately.
That's why you need to use Apple's new snooze features in mail to where you can send off a email and schedule it to be sent later.
Because I was like, the money, it's Facebook, so the money.
Of course, they was throwing, yeah, of course.
I mean, just hand over fist. But then I was like, but what am I going to have to give up of myself?
Right.
To do this type of job. And, even before, the kind of money that they make at Facebook, I know the type of environment, hardcore engineers, I hate that term. Hardcore. You got to be hardcore, or you're a rock star. You got to rock star it out. All of those, nomenclature, all those cliche terms that you get in tech companies, that you get with engineers. It's just like, oh God, go away. And my thought was, that's why I honestly put the pin in it, because I was like, sure, you can make a really good living and make a lot of money, but to what expense? Like, how many hours am I going to have to work? What type of pressure or stress I'm going to be? I'm going to make all this money, but I'm not going to be able to spend it because I'm working. So it's those type of things. It's just like, I don't think it's worth it.
And then fast forward to today, where
took it,
they like Metaverse. We off that. We on this AI now.
Lame. Take this L. Go over there. But yeah, so it was one of those things where it's something gets super popular, and like I talked about, they did the, all the hiring. I mean, it was pretty aggressive. So if I'm just one person that's happened to, it's happening to thousands of people. And
there's some people out there took it. Yep.
And people took it because, again, it is innovative. It is forward thinking to know that you'd be on the ground floor leading, building out the metaverse, which was the cornerstone of Facebook. Some people just like that challenge of things. I mean, the challenge is cool. I'm down for it. But at the end of the day, it's about the money. So, so some people took it, but now, what it says, a year and a half later, they are, SOL, they're either going to have to find another job, or they're going to have to pivot within Facebook to
something that they may not be interested in, something that what they didn't sign up for.
Right. They didn't come here for that. So, yeah.
So again, that leads me to maybe because all of the players are getting into OpenAI and Chat GPT and all these things to where it may have some staying power. But, you know, this still feels to me like a trend until something else comes up. You know, we may get into, you know, we were hot on autonomous cars and, you know,
That's what I do.
right. And now everything was metaverse. And before that, it was crypto and blockchain and Web3. And here we go.
Web 5. It's up to Web 6, I think now. And I'm like, what the hell?
And here we go, moving on to something else when we just knew Bitcoin and blockchain technology was future.
Ethereum, Solana, it's taking it.
When was the last time anybody said anything about blockchain and crypto? They haven't, because we've moved
outside of when things collapse and people lose their money.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So again, to me, this chat, I could be wrong. Kick me, you know, let's go, you know, fast forward. If everything takes off, you can come back to this episode and be like, we knew you weren't talking about
wrong.
Nothing. But to me, just like Metaverse, you know, just like our AR, you know, we were all into that a couple years ago, you know. Now this Chat GPT thing, it just feels like something else is going to come, and then everybody's going to pivot from that. So, but go ahead.
No, I would say before. What I was going to say is that we're on the Chat GPT thing, but the broad range of what's covered in
the application.
Yeah, we might be off the Chat GPT stuff, but it's going. I think AI is our as a industry is that girl, and just whatever kind of pops out of AI is going to be kind of close. Because you think about it, they had the dogs, that were kind of doing their own thing, and
the robots.
The robots.
Okay.
And so all that kind of falls in there. That was like a big thing for a while, and then, you know, that kind of faded.
Robotics.
To the background.
Yeah,
that kind of came up. So right now it's this open AI, and I hope people who are in it, you know, tech is just like any other industry. It has trends, it has peaks and valleys, and you know, if you've learned anything from this whole metaverse thing now, you know how, you know, it can be hot 1 minute and then not the next.
Make sure it's a passion, not just something you just jumping on.
Chasing for money.
Yeah, got you. All right, that makes sense. All right, so that's all we had about that. The last thing that I thought was interesting, which I didn't see coming at all, it seems like there's been some pushback from Pinterest, to where Pinterest has taken some aggressive action in regards to some of the pictures that are available to live on Pinterest, right? You think of Pinterest as this place to where you can go see pictures, you can create boards. Like, for instance, if you're taking a trip, you know, you can look at, you know, best outfits or something. You can create a board.
Baby showers are a big thing,
right? Weddings,
birthdays, all that stuff,
right? So it seems like what kind of flew under the radar was the ability for people to create pins and boards of images that alone are harmless, but if you put them together in a board, they can kind of paint a picture of nudity, pornography, and sexualized content as it relates to kids. Right. So it seems like, let me read this. Let me find it. As NBC News uncovered, individually innocuous photos and videos of little girls on Pinterest have been compiled by dozens, hundreds, and even thousands into public boards, with titles such as "Sexy Little Girls," "Delicious," "Hot," and "Young Girls." These images, which often show the children in bathing suits, leotards, and other light attire, are in many cases uploaded to the platform by the kids themselves for family members who have no idea how they're being used. One woman whose 9-year-old daughter's gymnastic videos were saved more than 50 boards of that nature told NBC News she was shocked and disgusted by discovery. And again, there were some senators who kind of used this information and brought it to Pinterest. Senators Marsha Blackburn,
Ugh.
Richard Blumenthal sent
Uh,
a letter to the company Tuesday morning demanding to know why these new tools weren't already available. And the tools that they're talking about, Pinterest's new safety features, emphasis on new, enable users to report boards and accounts for, quote, nudity, pornography, or sexualized content, which the site then defines as including intentional misuse involving minors. Previously, boards could not be flagged at all. Individual accounts could be reported only for spam and or inappropriate cover image. So basically, these senators saw this trend, or they were using this trend as their little sounding board to get some PR. But in the end, it seems like Pinterest was kind of lax on how people can create these boards, specifically as it relates to, like I mentioned, pornography, kids online, Safety Act, things of that nature. So what do you think about this? Is this, are these senators just looking for a bully to pick on? Or, are you surprised that Pinterest, you're able to curate these type of boards on Pinterest, and why this wasn't kind of nipped in the bud or monitored a little bit closely prior to this?
so I think the two senators are definitely looking for someone to bully, but in this case, that's not necessarily a bad thing because of
Mm-hmm.
what has come out of this. Now, granted, this is where AI, this is where ethics come in when you're creating these types of platforms, when you're creating these type of apps, to have some foresight on, the different use cases. But I'm going to be honest, who would, how does your mind have to work and be contorted to think people posting their children's gymnastics videos or their, them at the beach or at the pool is going to turn into disgusting men using this as pornography when there's nothing pornographic about it? It's innocent. And it's one of those things where
That's the thing, though. You said it. It's innocent. The outlandish, the purposely sexy, the thirst traps, that is purposeful, right? It's the innocence.
that's the intent. Right.
Right. The innocence is what attracts these, because it's all about power, it's all about control. And, again, I'm not trying to jump in the mind of a,
Don't want to
pervert,
go there.
but at the
Don't
same
want that.
time, it's the innocence that draws them in. And seeing kids, seeing girls in bathing suits, or boys, depending on, how they roll, the gymnastics outfits, the volleyball
Completely
outfits,
completely innocuous,
right.
completely no sexual type of innuendo or
It,
thought. It's the individual who's bringing that into these innocent photos. And again, sure, it's easy to blame the tech company for not having these tools in place,
mm,
but nobody thought that they needed to put these tools in place, because how do you get to the point of, yes, I just want to gold medal in my competition, to now you're being used as pornographic images? So it's one of
what's
those things where technology is catching up with the perversion
mhm,
of people, and then realizing, oh crap, this is a problem, this is an issue.
mhm,
Now let's go back in and put the protocols in place. And now that we know that these are the type of issues we need to be mindful of, now
mhm,
we can put them in there. But it's one of those things where nobody, when the creators of Pinterest came up with Pinterest, I can't fathom that they thought that they would get from the original intent was to create ideas for something you're doing for your home or a
mhm,
party or an event, to from that going from the peaks of that all the way to the gutter low of using innocent children for nefarious reasons.
No,
So it's
absolutely not. But at the same time, these companies are the whole point of how's that phrase go? The whole reason behind building a business is to make money. And when you make money, the whole point is to maximize profit, minimize costs. You know what costs a lot of money? Human moderators. You know what costs a lot of money? Somebody or some piece of technology to scour through these pictures.
AI
to find
imaging.
out. Right. That costs money. And that's a cost that I'm pretty sure Pinterest, like you mentioned, morally, ethically didn't think they would have to do, but also financially was like, nah, we good. Until somebody brought it to their attention. It's like, now all of a sudden they are taking these aggressive, where they say, let me find some of their wording. Let's see. Now they updated their machine learning models to better understand and distinguish legitimate uses and appropriate engagement with content. There was some
because
other
it's
things.
not because it's not necessarily the image that they have to look for. It's the board that they have to look for. You need to look for what if a board has too many images of children in different states of dress and the naming of the board, that those are the things you have to change. And at the core, that's not what the business is. The business is putting images on there. So now it's like, now you got to take me out of my scope of work of putting images for boards to now moderating the boards, and not just the boards, but the context that they're in. So say you have a person who is designing leotards for a gymnastics company. They may have a board
models
with different types of children to adults in leotards. Now it's like, do I flag that for pornography? Or is that just, the normal course of business that we expect people to use it for? So it gets into a lot of minutia. It takes a lot of really smart people to now come up with models to determine, what is good, what is bad. But what I think this points out is, I don't know if you saw on Twitter this week, between yesterday and the day before, there was this big debate on Twitter because this one therapist post, I think it was originally on TikTok and it made it over to Twitter, talking about how this therapist said that she was not going to accept any more male clients. And I mean, they slaughtered this lady. That's discrimination. Men need help too. I mean, just going in on her. And then someone kind of quote tweeted that. It was like, wait until you hear about waxers not accepting male clients. And the horror stories, holy crap. I had to stop reading it because it was horrible. And it went from a therapist to estheticians, to waxers, to massage therapists, to dermatologists, to dentists. All of these women have certain requirements when it comes to taking on male patients. Whether you're a medical doctor, whether you are a therapist, it was because men are perverts. Like,
so with the therapist, forget the other. Well, my imagination can go with the waxers and the massage therapists.
The morgues really threw me out.
Not that, forget that one.
When that one popped up,
but therapists though, what was it? I'm not familiar with this debate. But what was the therapist? What was her reasoning behind? I'm assuming
along those same lines, I believe, because I think when I saw hers, it was when I think she didn't give enough context as to why she originally made the statement that she wasn't going. I think she just said, because I think when I went and looked at it, of course, people start to do multiples, and I'm like, I'm not watching all those. But the one that I saw and what I read, it was that she was like, she isn't going to accept any more male clients because of, her experience with them. And then that's when they jumped on her. And then when the woman who quote tweeted about the waxers, then that's where it kind of evolved into the different things that these women professionals have experienced with male clients, and why they don't, why they say, males, female patients only. And even in some instances, it was male doctors who said that they wouldn't take any more male patients, because it on the women end, it was more of sexual harassment, sexual assault. On the male end, it was more ego driven, where if you gave someone a diagnosis or a suggestion because you went to them as a professional for medical help, it's the ego that gets into it and the anger that gets into it. But it was just some of the things that these women had experienced with their male clients. Like, my thing is, like, a dermatologist, like, what? But they were like, people have dermatologists, they are skin doctors, right? So
right, not just your face.
All over
Yeah,
it, right?
Yeah.
And so if they do, some of the women doctors said that if they do accept male clients, they don't accept any skin issues that are below the waist. You can only do face, neck, arms, because, and then it even got down to barbers. Like, they have, like, female barbers, like, they have to make sure that the male hand are visible at all time, or have like clear, what do you call them, cape things. One lady said that she's a massage therapist. She had someone book a session. They paid for all the stuff. They come in. She's thinking it's a regular session. He told her he didn't want the massage. He wanted her. So he booked the session to basically try and have a date with this woman. Morgues, they said, we don't hire male morticians because they can't be trusted with the bodies.
Oh my God, that's gross.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty. The thread, I was like, let me slide Twitter over to the side, because it got really dark really fast. And all of this ties into the fact that these men are using innocent,
otherwise innocent
things
and pervert them.
Correct.
So again, it sucks that Pinterest is put in that position.
Right.
But again, it's like, all right,
it's not an anomaly.
It's not. It can't be, oh, we didn't know. It's like you almost have to bank on the idea that somebody is going to take these pictures and pervert them, whether just pervert them into something that they're just not supposed to be used for, or literally perversion, right?
Right.
You know, and the fact that now, again, I found it as surprising that now, you know, after Kate Snow from, I think she's from ABC, or I can't remember what show she's on. I think she's one of the more popular morning anchors, I think on NBC. She had a little interview and things of that nature. Now all of a sudden, Pinterest is taking these. She
did a story on Pinterest.
Yeah, she did a story about Pinterest, and now all of a sudden, Pinterest is taking immediate, broad, and aggressive action to deactivate thousands of bad actors and anyone engaging with content in inappropriate ways. I'm like, why does it take all this attention for companies to be like, hey, we may want to be proactive about some of the ways some of these people are treating some of these pictures? I just found that interesting. Again, it sucks that it's Pinterest, because again, like you mentioned, people mostly look at that, how am I going to decorate my bedroom? But now that is, again, like you mentioned, somebody could take something as innocent as a dermatologist and pervert that. So why wouldn't you think they'll take a little picture of some kids in a outfit and pervert that as well?
Just disgusting.
Yeah.
Come on.